Hi, how's it going? My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, a very late Farzy show. For the people that just listen on the podcast, basically the show starts, generally speaking, late every day. Well, not generally, every day. Like at least at the best day, like 5 minutes, best day. Uh, then there's an average of like 6:30 for a show that's supposed to start at 6, and then lately, like 6:45 has been like a new norm, which is not what I want to do. Today, unfortunately, as you can see, for the people actually watching the show here, not just listening on the podcast, but a lot of technical issues. I am on my phone today, and I'm wearing the old school earbuds, not the ones, not the AirBud, but what are those AirPods? Not those. Those are too classy for me. No, actually, it's just one more thing that I'd have to charge, and I don't want to deal with that. So I prefer the cord. But anyway, um, I appreciate you guys for hanging in there. We're gonna get some new equipment in the Farzy Show studio. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna get back on track as far as on time goes. But I do appreciate you guys sticking it out with me, and yeah, let's do the show. Well, some of the best advice. I had a teacher in school. She was a substitute teacher, and she would come in and help out with like the spring shows and stuff when I was a kid at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Doylestown. And this teacher would come in, Mrs. Marvulo. Her name was Vincenza Marvulo, Vinnie Marvulo, right? And she was this little peanut of a lady, right, coming down to help with all the school and stuff, with substitute teaching and like I said, the spring show. And she would just always say it: the show must go on. The show must go on. So here we are in this humble studio, having the show go on. Speaking of which, let's have the show go on. Garrett Stubbs goes off for a 4-hit night. It was a home run short of the cycle, as the Phillies were able to take 2 or 3 from the Kansas City Royals. Before the game started, I looked at the lineup card and I saw what Rob Thompson was presenting. And I said, hold on a minute. The Philadelphia Phillies have had a lot of trouble recently, scoring runs with any semblance of consistency. So then finally, JT Realmuto goes out there and gets you a 7 RBI performance, hitting 2 separate 3-run home runs, a career high 7 RBIs, ties Carlos Ruiz's franchise record for 7 RBIs by a catcher in one game. And then Rob Thompson's reaction to that was, JT, you're out of the lineup. Bold. Very bold strategy, Rob Thompson. So what happens? Garrett Stubbs goes up there and he gets a triple in his first at bat. He ropes it down the right field line, deep into the corner. He's got his arms flailing all over the place. Kyle Schwarber might be a more aesthetically pleasing runner than Garrett Stubbs. But anyway, Garrett Stubbs rounds the base, gets to third base, he leads off with the triple, comes around to score on the Kyle Schwarber double. Right away, Phillies up 1-0. All right, just like that. Right, first at bat, he gets a triple, fine. Then he goes on to get a bunt single in classic Garrett Stubbs fashion. And then he goes on to get a double. And then he comes up with 2 more plate appearances, just needing a home run to complete the cycle. In his second to last at bat, his first opportunity to hit the home run to get the cycle, he gets 4 pitches actually, all sliders, over the middle of the plate that he just can't time. He blasts them. I got the feeling that at that point in the game, the Royals were just like, yeah, sure, have a cycle, go for it, hit the home run, whatever. And Garrett Stubbs ropes them down the right field line, hooks them all foul, and just missed. And then in the 9th inning, with a position player pitching in Garrett Hampson tries in his first pitch with a 59-mile-per-hour pitch, comes wildly inside to Garrett Stubbs and misses him. I know he didn't want to hit him to hurt him, but he wanted to hit him. And then in the next pitch of that at bat, absolute disgrace, he plunks Garrett Stubbs. I thought Garrett Stubbs was like gonna decline the penalty. Like he was just standing there at home plate and just be like, I'm not going to take the base. You could visibly frustrated. And of course, he ended up taking the base, but that was that. But 4 for 4 for Garrett Stubbs, reaches base every plate appearance that he had. So 5 for 5 in plate appearances, gets his batting average over 200. So there we go. I didn't like what Rob Thompson was doing before the game. This is where I always argue about philosophy versus result. All right. You want to talk to me about philosophy? Sitting JT Realmuto out was ludicrous last night, or yesterday afternoon. It was awful. And then Garrett Stubbs comes up and he delivers for his manager. Rob Thompson was asked about it after the game, and he jokingly said, "Yeah, I guess you got to give me credit for this because Garrett Stubbs went out there and actually had himself a game. So good for him. Give me credit," says Rob Thompson in a joking fashion. So we'll talk about the Phillies, talk about Garrett Stubbs, talk about Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner. Those guys coming to life a little bit in the final two games of this series, which was good after going 0 for 10 in the first game of the series here against the Kansas City Royals. Now the Phillies are going to be coming home for 3 against the Houston Astros, and they're also going to have 4 against the Atlanta Braves. Boy, oh boy, the good times just keep on coming for your Philadelphia Phillies. Where I'll be for September will be dictated by this homestand. Between what the Phillies do against the Astros and then what the Phillies are able to do against the Atlanta Braves. Because for me, for the vast majority of this second half of the season and the All-Star break and all that stuff, how the Phillies have been one of the worst teams in baseball since the All-Star break, the question has come up time and time again about what will save the season and then whether or not the Phillies are back. Phillies won 4 games in a row with the last game of that 2-game series against the Marlins and then 3 straight against the Washington Nationals before dropping the final game of that 4-game series and then going to Atlanta. What has saved the season? Are the Phillies back? What has saved the season? Brandon Marsh was supposed to save the season with that crazy catch that he didn't see, where he didn't see the ball for the last second against the Mariners. The miracle Marsh catch against the Mariners. Then Kyle Schwarber's grand slam. That was supposed to save the season. And then they went to Atlanta and they lost 2 or 3. Okay. I'm going to put a new one in. Okay. The infield lip of the grass at Kauffman Stadium might have saved the season as part of that big 6th inning that the Phillies had where Bryson Stott, after, let's see, it was Massey and it was Renfroe Saturday afternoon, early evening, that let that Nick Castellanos pop fly drop right in between them. So should have had a first out of the inning, but you didn't. You had a leadoff single by Nick Castellanos. And then Bryson Stott hit a textbook 4-6-3 double play ball. Massey charges it there for the Royals. It bounces off the lip of the grass in the infield on Saturday and over the head of Massey. Phillies go on to have a nice inning. Phillies go on to win that ball game. Phillies score 11 runs Saturday, just like they scored 11 runs yesterday. So talking about what could save the season. Okay, add that to the list. The lip of the infield grass against the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. That right there could have saved the season. 3 things. Phillies are getting some help here. Now they have to help themselves. Phillies are getting some luck on their side. Phillies just got Ranger Suarez back. Love seeing him go out there and pitch on Saturday. Love the fact that he just came back and notched his 11th win of the season, finally. And he goes out there and he gives you 5 innings, 1 run, and looked like Ranger Suarez of old. The curveball looked like it was back in phenomenal fashion. So that was great to see. And the lineup, of course, backing him up was great. And then yesterday they went out there and they won the series in big bat fashion. We'll talk about it. Also, the Eagles played their final preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. We'll give you our roster predictions, my roster predictions. I was looking at Jeff McClain's article on Inquirer.com. There's only a couple people that I disagreed with. And I think Jeff does a great job. He only does the 53-man roster prediction, but there's a couple of names on there that I want to go back and forth on a little bit with you guys. And if you guys have a training camp stud, if you guys have the camp darling, if you guys have the preseason hero, whoever it might be, the guy that, out of nowhere, shot out of a cannon, how about this guy? When I look at the Eagles and I look at how this preseason has gone and I look at how the training camp has gone, the biggest shock to me, the biggest surprise to me is the linebacker position. This is a position that every chance we get as Eagles fans, we look at it and we go, what are they even doing? Do they even care about this position? And the Eagles might have stumbled upon a pretty decent linebacking core. Now, okay, listen to me. I'm not putting Devin White into the Pro Bowl. All right, I'm not saying that all of a sudden Oren Burks out of one preseason game is going to make the roster all of a sudden. I'm not saying Nakobe Dean's going to be a Pro Bowler. I'm not saying that Zach Bond is going to be, the greatest thing, since sliced bread. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm actually kind of excited to see the Eagles go into the season with what they have at the linebacker position. I don't know if Burks is, like I said, has played himself onto the roster. If it's a choice between him or Ben Von Sumeren, I'm going to go with Oren Burks. But I think everybody showed some pretty good stuff. I think everybody put some good stuff on film throughout the preseason. But I'm looking at this linebacker group, and I have to, every time I think about it, I have to go back and go, am I sure about this? Wait, hold on a second. This is the Eagles we're talking about here. And I'm feeling good about how their linebackers have looked in the preseason, and what I'm hearing from Nakobe Dean and what I'm hearing from Devin White, and how Devin White wants to take on this leadership role. And ever since he has been here, he has talked about being a leader on this football team and pushing guys around him, and going into training camp the day before training camp, the text message that he sent now to A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. I mean, first off, that's putting yourself in some pretty important Eagle company with those two people right there. But saying basically, yeah, you guys got the offense. You guys keep pouring in to this glass. He sent him a picture of a glass. He said, we pour into this every day. I took that as, all right, you guys are obviously going to be leading the charge when it comes to what the offense is going to be doing. I'm going to be leading the charge when it comes to what the defense is going to be doing. Keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. Love that type of leadership. So we'll get into that conversation and a couple other guys that I thought helped the cause. And unfortunately, one guy that didn't. I still think he makes the roster. I just like, and I'll say, E.J. Jenkins could have helped his cause, obviously, with a touchdown reception. Couldn't reel it in. There was a couple of instances there. We'll get into that. Cooper DeJean made his professional debut. And as one would expect, he looked like a guy who hadn't played football in a long time. The last time he was on the football field was November 11th of last year, when he was in Iowa, obviously, before breaking his leg at practice. Like that, to me, okay, you're going to have some rust. I love the fact that he was out there. I know a lot of people made a big deal of Nolan Smith being out there. Certainly when I saw him out there in the final preseason game against the Vikings on Saturday, I was, this is interesting. Okay. He took exception a little bit after the game to people being like, so you played in this game. That can't, basically, the line of questioning was, you played in preseason game number 3? Like, that can't be good, man. Are you okay? And he was like, I played football. Like, I'm happy to have played football. After having shoulder surgery in the offseason, I could go out there and play football. I'm pretty excited about that. So these are all things that we'll dissect a little further as the show goes on today. And, of course, per usual, we'll take your comments. If you're just joining us, yes, the show might look a little bit different. We're on my phone, as my Delco friends and even Baltimore cousins would say. You're on your phone? Okay. Anyway, let's talk about yesterday. There's 3 big things I like to do on the Locked On Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports YouTube channel, Locked On Philadelphia Sports YouTube channel. And that's 3 big things. And this guy he deserves a hat tip at least. Colby Allard, where the hell did he come from? Because he's been a godsend to this Phillies rotation. And I say rotation, I know in one of his particular starts, they had an opener go for him there against the Ryan Kirkering, right? Or Ryan Kirkering against the Mariners. And then you got 4 solid innings from Colby Allard in that start against the Mariners. You had 4 or 5 solid innings for him against the Guardians before the Guardians took him deep on a 3-run home run. Really the only mistake he made in that start. And then went up against the Arizona Diamondbacks, started the only game you won in that series, and then yesterday gives you 5 innings of 2-run baseball. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that over any time I have to look at Taijuan Walker ever again. Can we get into that? We'll get into that. But Colby Allard deserves a hell of a hat tip for what he was able to do yesterday. So hat tip Colby Allard. Just want to make sure I shouted him out. Number 2, looking at yesterday, I look at the lineup in general. There was talk about Alec Boehm and the struggles that he had where he forgot the outs in the 2nd inning, I believe it was, of yesterday's ball game. Should he have been benched? First inning. Should he have been benched? No, I wouldn't have benched him in that situation. For the same reason I didn't like JT Realmuto not being in the lineup. This has been an offense that has struggled mightily with consistency. And you're coming out of a Braves series where you scored, a total of 5 runs, 6 runs for 3 games. I know you're coming off a night where you just scored 11 runs, but the guy that helped you with those 11 runs, with 7 of those runs driving them in, is on the bench. So now you're going to take out Alec Boehm. I actually love the idea that he wasn't benched, because for me, that showed that maybe Rob Thompson learned something from the fourth game against the Nationals, where he just said, I don't need Bryce Harper for this one. And you know what, JT, you take a break too. And Alec Boehm, you go over to first base. Let's take out another starter. Let's take out Johan Rojas in center field. Let's put in somebody else there. Like, you can't take away that much firepower from your lineup. So not benching Alec Boehm when he forgot the outs in the first inning, I had no problem with. Alec Boehm So Garrett Stubbs rewarded his manager, obviously, with his day. Alec Boehm rewarded his manager with going off yesterday for 3 RBIs. Nick Castellanos also a nice day with the RBIs. Also Kyle Schwarber. But when you look at it, Boehm and Schwarber combined for 6 RBIs yesterday. I'm glad that you did not take Alec Boehm out of that game. And Alec Boehm rewarded his manager with some pretty solid play at for the rest of the game at the hot corner, and then also at the plate as well. So I had no issue with that. But overall, the lineup yesterday coming up with another big hit day. 16 hits yesterday, 11 runs batted in. Schwarber was 2 for 5. Turner did come up with a hit for you at least, was 1 for 5. And then how about this? Boehm, Marsh, Rojas, and then Stubbs, along with Kyle Schwarber, all multi-hit games for the Phillies yesterday. So just in general, the lineup coming through in back-to-back games was a sight for sore eyes. And then number one is obviously Garrett Stubbs. I told you I was against him getting the start after JT Realmuto's success. But hey, again, philosophy, you start JT Realmuto. Result, I don't think JT Realmuto is coming up with 4 hits yesterday. So I'll give him that. Anytime Stubbs goes in there and is able to give you offense, that's just gravy, especially if everybody else is hitting as well. But there is one particular play with Garrett Stubbs that sticks out to me, and it has nothing to do with when he had a bat in his hands. Did you guys see him try to frame, I think it was a fastball that Garrett Stubbs set up high and away? Forget who was batting at the time, but I put it out on my Twitter. If you haven't seen the clip yet, it's worth a view. So Garrett Stubbs sets up high and away, and bless his heart, tries to – if I'm a pitcher in Major League Baseball and you're my catcher, if you don't have Garrett Stubbs' energy on this, like, I don't want you. And he goes up and he literally stands up and catches the ball high and away and attempts to frame it, what I would only calculate to be 2.5 square plates away from where he caught the baseball. Well high, well away, and he brought it to the inside high corner. All right, Garrett Stubbs, you do you, baby. You can't fault a guy for trying. But anyway, he gave it a shot. Didn't work out as one would assume, and that was that. But all in all, what I saw from him yesterday was just exactly what you need to see from a backup catcher, stepping up in a big situation when you're trying to close out a series victory against a good baseball team in the Kansas City Royals. Garrett Stubbs was a big part of being able to do that in yesterday's win. As far as the rest of the game went, the only thing is just keep it going. And you guys know I hate the wait and see approach. You're in or you're out on the Phils. I'm in on the Phils. But when it comes to proving consistency, I don't know if they're ever going to get back to what they were in the first half of this season. But when it comes to just stacking wins, well, the Mets lost yesterday. The Braves lost yesterday. So you got a little bit more wiggle room in the division. Your division lead goes back to 6. You're going to have an opportunity later this week to just put the Braves out of their misery. Be playing as best a baseball you can play. Give us the best brand of baseball you could possibly give us. And carry that into that Atlanta Braves series and take it to them. First, though, you can't overlook the Astros. And you got a great pitching matchup, great guys in the rotation going in that series to start things off before you do face the Braves. So no excuses. Astros are taking over or have taken over the Seattle Mariners since the Phillies saw the Mariners all those weeks ago. They have taken over. The Astros have taken over the AL West. So another first-place team Phillies are going to be taking on here. The test is in front of them. They have the pitching staff and hopefully a consistent lineup to get the job done before they go into a very important series against the Braves. We talk about it in football all the time about, hey, don't look past this team. You're looking at next week. Oh, it's the week before Cowboy week. Don't look past this, that, the other. Don't do that. Same thing applies in this situation. You can't look past the Astros. And hopefully the fact that the Astros beat you in the World Series 2 years ago, a little chip on your shoulder. A little chip on your shoulder going into that as well. After the game, Rob Thompson did talk about why he did not bench Alec Boehm after forgetting how many outs there were in the first inning. And if you're Colby Allard in that situation, you got to be thinking, thanks, bro. I got runners all over the place, and you're forgetting how many outs there are, and there's an inning-ending 5-3 double play right there in your mitt. Thanks. But after the game, Rob Thompson just said, yeah, he's one of our best players, and I'm not going to take him out of the lineup. But he did have a conversation with him. And I know in the Saturday night's win, another 18 hits, 11 runs, 18 hits Saturday night. Alec Boehm was 0 for 5. He had a day off. Then he went 0 for 5. His consecutive game streak of getting on base ended at 36. Rob Thompson finally gave him the day off. It was the third game, I believe it was, against the final game against the Braves that he didn't get on base. Then he got the day off, and then Rob Thompson put it back in the lineup for the last 2 days, and again, didn't bench him yesterday. 0-5s are going to happen, and I just thought it was really odd that I don't know what he was saying in the clubhouse. I don't know what he was saying on the bench, in the dugout, but the camera got a great shot of Bryce Harper going over to Alec Boehm, putting his arm around him, and I assume just saying, yeah, you're destined for great things. You're going to be swinging the bat well, blah, 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 blah. And then yesterday comes up with a 3 RBI day. All right. There you go, fella. I just didn't think that Alec Boehm would be someone that would need that much encouragement after 36 straight games of getting on base. Leading the league in doubles forever, like since the season started. I didn't think that Alec Boehm was some sob story all of a sudden. And I don't know what was said. Maybe Bryce Harper just thought, yeah, this guy needs an arm around him right now, and good for Bryce Harper being a leader and doing that. I thought it was a little odd. All in all, loved what I saw in Kansas City. Love to have Ranger Suarez back in this lineup. And if there's anything that comes out of this weekend, as I mentioned, I don't know what the Phillies are going to do against the Astros. I don't know what the Phillies are going to do against the Braves. I don't know how the Phillies are going to look for the rest of the season. I don't think Garrett Stubbs has another 4-hit game in him. How about that? That was a career high for Garrett Stubbs, 4 hits. I would have thought for sure he had a 3-hit game in there somewhere, even if he bunted 3 times. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know about all this stuff. But you know what I do know? I know that Taijuan Walker, and I said this immediately after the game, I know that Taijuan Walker should not step foot on that mound for the rest of this season. And I know a lot of other people are saying, well, what about, again, as a Philly? I would love for the Phillies to just cut ties. If it was me running it, I'd bye, Taijuan Walker. See you later. Never pitch for the Phillies again. But Phillies aren't going to do that, I don't think. So here's what I do know. He can't pitch for the Phillies ever again this season. Cannot pitch for the Phillies. You can not justify a guy who has had the injuries he has had, a guy who has had the struggles that he has had this year. You cannot justify putting him back out on the mound again this season. So if you're the Phillies and you have a month left in this season, and you're the Phillies, and you didn't even pitch Taijuan Walker in the postseason last year, despite being one of the league leaders in wins, which make of that what you will. I know you're paying him $18 million over the next 2 years, so I don't see them just being like, whatever, $18 million, whatever. You have every opportunity right now to just sit him down and say, we just had to shut him down. Taijuan Walker's really been battling with injuries this year, and we just felt it best for him and the ball club and his future and the future of the ball club and this rotation and other guys stepping up. Like, I'll take Colby Allard. I'll take him every 5th day. I'll give another chance later as the season goes on. I'll give another chance to Tyler Phillips a little bit later in the year. You know what I mean? But Taijuan Walker pitching again this year would be a crime against the fan base. So let's not do that, Phillies. Hey, Dave Dombrowski, let's not do that. Hey, John Middleton, I wouldn't mind you meddling a little bit and just being like, we're not going to say he's done. He's done. Everybody knows it. Of all the things that I could take away from this weekend, feel great about 2 or 3. I'll feel a lot better about knowing Taijuan Walker will not pitch for the Phillies for the rest of this season. And the Phillies, if you're the Phillies and you want to try to justify something, you could, he's been hurt. He hasn't been able to find a groove. we're paying him a lot of money, so we're going to sit him down for the rest of the year and hopefully get a better version of Taijuan Walker next year. And you know what? More power to him if that's the case, because I'll hope that I don't want the Phillies to just light $18 million on fire. I'd rather hope, okay, let's see what he's got next year. But this year, it ain't it, man. We all know it. The Phillies, let's not forget about the fact that the Phillies put Spencer Turnbull on the bench, or in the bullpen, rather, when he was having a great start to the year. Then he finally gets back into it a little bit, and then he gets on the IL. I mean, to me, it would be a joke. It would be a crime against the fan base and a damn non-funny joke if Taijuan Walker grabbed the ball and went back on the bullpen, or went back on the mound. And I'm not saying, oh, we'll just put him in the bullpen. I would be happier if the Phillies just said, this season sucks for Taijuan. See you later. We'll get you next year. That's the way to handle it. I think that's the best way to justify it to yourselves as people that have spent the money. And I think that's the best thing you can do for this fan base. Oh, and by the way, also the best baseball decision you can make. Everyone, I think, should have the idea that the best players play. He ain't it, man. He ain't it. Talking about this solid rotation that you're going to have now. Hopefully, barring injury, from now to the end of the season, get your Wheeler to Nola to Suarez to Sanchez, then to dumpster fire? No, I'd rather go to a guy that has at least shown some consistency this year, even if that is Kobe Allard. Oh, I'm sorry, that is Kobe Allard. That's the way the Phillies and Dave Dombrowski should be handling this. Of all the things to take away from this weekend, Taijuan Walker not starting again? Yeah, I would say that that's probably the best way to go about it. Speaking of starting pitching, just Ranger Suarez in general, I mean, this guy missed a little over a month, and he was that on point. All right. First inning, Ranger Suarez went out there on Saturday, 9 pitches, 13 in the 12th, or excuse me, 13 in the 12th, 13th in the second, 9 in the third, 15 in the 4th inning, and then in the 5th inning, definitely hit a wall. For the first 4 innings, I mean, he was vintage Ranger Suarez. And even to start out the 5th inning, he struck out Renfroe on a 3-2 sinker. His sinker was working well for him. His changeup was working phenomenally well. He got Fermin to strike out on a sinker as well. Renfroe on a curveball in the 2nd inning. Like he just, the thing that really impressed me with Ranger Suarez was people talk about his changeup a lot. For me, that's a great pitch, obviously, but when his curveball has that solid break on it, that quick snap to it, that's to me when he is at his absolute best. And I thought that's what he had really working for him in the first 4 1/3 inning. But to see him go out there in the 5th inning and hit that wall, he has the mound conference with 1st and 2nd, 1 out. He's able to get out of that jam with back-to-back strikeouts, both on sinkers to Isbell and Garcia. And that was a 26-pitch 5th inning. And then the Phillies said, all right, that's enough of that. And they got him out of there. And then the bats picked him up later, especially with JT Realmuto just going off to pick up his starting pitcher. So love to see that from Ranger Suarez. A sight for sore eyes to see him come back to this Phillies rotation. Phillies are back at it 6:40 tonight against the Houston Astros. Zach Wheeler will be getting the start for that. Let's talk about your Philadelphia Eagles. All in all, Saturday. First up, it was as weird as I expected it on Saturday to watch a 1 o'clock kickoff in the preseason, because I have not seen a 1 o'clock kickoff in the preseason, and I can't even remember the last time I saw a Philadelphia Eagles team kick off at 1 o'clock. And I thought I was nuts. Was talking to a buddy of mine over the weekend, and he's just like, is it true the Eagles play it? Like, is it true? Yes, at Saturday, 1 o'clock. I was like, yeah, it's weird as hell, but they're doing it. So that's what they did. They lost. They did not stay perfect in the preseason, so cancel the preseason parade. I know it's going to be, it's unfortunate, but that's where we're at. But looking at that game on Saturday, the things that jumped out to me, if that's Cooper DeJean after not playing since November 11th, I really look to seeing Cooper DeJean in, like week 8. Played in this slot throughout the day, showed he's not afraid to be physical. Certainly, getting a flag early in the game. That certainly shows that. Negating a column interception. Come on. And then later in the game, he had two plays where he got beat by, I'm not even going to say a half a step, maybe a quarter of a step. And they would have been touchdowns, but Lucky Jackson stepped out of bounds on two particular plays that he was covered by Cooper DeJean. Now, some might say that that was all luck. No, not Lucky Johnson or Jackson, not no pun there. But if Cooper DeJean isn't blanketing him, maybe he feels like he has the time and he has the presence of mind to keep his feet in bounds, corral the football, and come up with a touchdown. So I'm going to give a credit to Cooper DeJean, who did not allow a touchdown, bottom line, to his receiver on those two particular plays. Did he get beat? He got beat, especially on the second one that was in the end zone, the far side of the end zone. But all in all, I really liked what I saw from him. You see the potential there. I always ask about rookies, about young players, inexperienced players, or guys that are going into a new position. All you gotta do is show you belong. Just give me that. Show that you belong, please. And Cooper DeJean, for me, showed that he belonged in preseason game number 1 for him, his pro debut, if you will. After the game, they just asked him about what it was like to go out there and play. And he was great. He was just like a big smile on his face. He was like, dude, it was awesome. Like I got to play football again. I haven't played football in a while. It was good to play football. So good for Cooper DeJean. Love seeing that he was out there. That was awesome. EJ Jenkins was a guy I really, especially after preseason games 1 and 2. Well, obviously, I just thought showed you a lot. He had an opportunity to reel in a touchdown, and it just went through his hands. Jeff McClain has him as a practice squad player. He has Grant Calcaterra and obviously Dallas Goedert as your number 1 and 2 tight ends. Grant Calcaterra, I know, can block. I know he can catch a little bit. EJ Jenkins has an opportunity to do something to get himself off the practice squad if he is going to make the practice squad, or if the Eagles are going to carry a third tight end. I would love to see that because I think he has a lot of potential. Would love to see that come to fruition throughout the regular season if needed. In other words, Dallas Goedert is healthy. Would like Dallas Goedert to be healthy. Running back room shouldn't really surprise anybody. Barkley, Gainwell, Shipley. That's exactly my takeaway. Davis Price, though, Tyrion Davis Price carried the football 6 consecutive times on one possession for the Eagles against the Vikings. Was stripped of the football on the 6th carry that he had in that situation, in that drive, in that series. So that's unfortunate. One of 3 turnovers the Eagles had in that game. 2 other ones, Tanner McKee threw an interception and also was sacked and fumbled at the first play of the second half. Not ideal, not great. But that running back room looks like that's the way that's going to shape out. As far as the as far as the wide receivers go, I don't think it really surprises that many people that you're pretty solid at 1, 2, and 3 at the wide receiver spot. Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson, Britton Covey look like guys are going to be making it there. Joseph Nada did not help the cause in preseason game number 3. The interception that Tanner McKee was charged with was off the face of Joseph Ngata, in a 4th and short situation in the red zone. That wasn't going to help the cause, and it didn't help the cause. But that's the way that looks like that's going to shape out. I agree with McClain's assessment here. The linebacker room, again, what I'm so flippin' excited about, I still am shocked, but I'm excited about the linebacker situation. Devin White, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. This is the interesting one. Ben Von Sumeren or Oren Burks. Of the 2, how do you not take Oren Burks? Ben Von Sumeren was a fullback like 20 minutes ago. And now all of a sudden he's playing linebacker. I know they had him on the practice squad last year. He got in some games. But I know he's supposed to be a physical freak. And I know last year going into camp, he was a darling. And I know people have talked about his raw strength and raw talent. Look, Vic Fangio dial up a couple blitzes in the preseason. He showed aggression. He got into the backfield. He did his thing. But I think the Eagles also still need to have a little bit more of that experience, and Oren Burke certainly provides some of that experience. Brandon Smith did not really impress me throughout the preseason. I know that's going to upset some people, but it wasn't for me. I I've talked a lot about James Bradberry. Everyone's talked a lot about James Bradberry. Certainly do not think he makes the team. They asked Nick Sirianni after the game against the Vikings about James Bradberry and what James Bradberry had looked like in training camp and in the preseason. And it was just like, gave the most bland answer you could possibly give. I give him credit, though. He didn't say right now. He didn't say, I like James Bradberry on our team. I'm happy that we have him right now. If he would have said right now, that just would have been like, just cut him now. Just put him out of his business. Just cut him now, man. Just cut him. But he didn't say right now. He just talked about how he likes having him on the team. But he's gone. I have no doubt in my mind that James Bradberry has played his last game as a Philadelphia Eagle. You're starting cornerbacks, most likely, I'll say top 3, including nickel. Sorry, Vic Fangio. You're obviously going to have Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, and then Quentin Mitchell as your slot. Avonte Maddox, I think, absolutely makes the team as a safety, and then also the versatility to play nickel as well. I look at this defense, and I find it really interesting to look at the position of Milton Williams and think about how crucial his role is going to be on this team. Because I know the first people we focus on are looking at the interior defensive linemen in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. But Milton Williams will prove whether or not you have the right amount of depth. Like, you have other guys after Milton Williams that'll get opportunities to go in there and do their thing. Moro Jomo, I know some people are high on going into camp. Marlon Tuipulotu going out there doing his thing. Thomas Booker jumped out in the games in some instances, showed what he has the potential to do. But I think the 3 interior offensive line or defensive linemen that you can have a lot of confidence in is kind of what we've become accustomed to in Philadelphia. And listening to Vic Fangio talk about how he wanted to trade for Milton Williams last year, I think shows the high regard he has for him as a defensive tackle. And if he could keep tapping into that, because I know we look at Jordan Davis and I know we look at Jalen Carter, and those are the obvious guys that have to step up. And Jordan Davis's words, no one's coming to save him. They don't have Fletcher Cox in the room anymore that's going to go out there and just make some kind of play or take up a double team and allow somebody else to get into the backfield and come up with a sack or force a turnover, whatever the case might be. They don't have that. That's on them this year. So if they're rising to that role, then Milton Williams needs to rise into his role as well, and I think he will. I got a lot of confidence in him. The guy has been on the show. He has talked a lot about his work ethic. A lot of people have talked about his work ethic, talked about his talent. And while we keep talking about the bigger names in Carter and Davis, I feel like we need to talk about Milton Williams a little bit more and his ability to step up into that rotational player and talk about a guy that could be playing consistent downs for this Eagles defense as well. So that's a big question to see whether or not he could do it. It's not nearly the same leap you need from like a Bryce Huff, for instance, to go from that 40% of the snaps guy to 70% of the snaps guy. But it's comparable. It's comparable. Edge rushers, defensive ends, Bryce Huff, obviously, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith. Jalix Hunt has come on strong, and Patrick Johnson. Talk about a guy that could come up with Johnny on the spot all of a sudden. Patrick Johnson in 2 games of the first 2 games of the preseason, able to come up and get in the backfield and put that pigskin in peril for the offense that he's going up against. Liked what I saw from him in the preseason. So yeah, that's the way it looks like it's going to break down when it comes to your Eagles. Safeties, I mentioned Avonte Maddox will be there with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. Sidney Brown still making his way back, and I would look at Tristan McCollum to be a practice squad guy. It sucks that the penalty negated his interception, but it is what it is. Hey, let me tell you about the great people at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. And how about this, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my goodness gracious. On the Game Time app, you could use Game Time picks to help you funnel out, filter out all the nonsense when it comes to not the best seat, not the best price. To find the best seats and the best price, Game Time picks. You could look through that and you could see the great things that you could be seeing when it comes to being at the stadium, being at the arena, being at the event on the Game Time app. How about this? The Game Time guarantee as well. If you find tickets on the same, on a different site, different app, in the same section and same row, Game Time will refund your account 110% of the difference. That is the Game Time guarantee for the Game Time guaranteed lowest price. They also have last minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals. They even have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. And here's one of my favorite things. You know exactly what you're buying before you buy it on the Game Time app. So you take the guesswork out of buying tickets. You could view the seat before you buy it. And then how about this? You can toggle the all-in pricing feature on the Game Time app so you know exactly how much that ticket costs before you check out. So there's no surprise at the end. Oh, no surprise at the end of how these $20 tickets became $30 tickets, you know? You can do that on the Game Time app when you toggle the all-in pricing feature. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. We'll get to your comments coming up in a second. Let me tell you about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation. Enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how your wonderful people are doing on this fine Monday morning. James Alexander, what's going on? Nice to see you, James. Because it's really tiny on the phone. I'm reading it off the monitor down here, so bear with me. Good morning, Farzy. Phillies finally regained their momentum. I need the Phillies to win like 7-10. 7-10, Phils. Let's go, 7-10. Going to the game on Saturday or Sunday night. Also, I went to the Eagles preseason game. Food is so high. Yeah. Food is bonkers. It makes me feel old because I remember my dad going to games and stuff. I actually watched the Phillies game with my dad yesterday. It was awesome. But my dad be like, wait, for a hot dog? You know, that kind of thing. That just shows me that every generation goes through it. This is for a hot dog? Like, I bought a round of beers last year at a game. It was like $120. I was like, what the? It's insane. And people are like, are you taking your kids to the games? I'm like, no. What are you, crazy? Like, hey, Little Toots is 5. Leo's 2.5. Leo sat with me and watched Friday night's game a little bit because he wasn't going to sleep, and he just sat next to me and watched the game. It was awesome. Lil Toots likes to trace the bases. So I'm not forcing it. She's curious, and I'm just trying to show. She's like, why are they running? I'm like, well, they hit the ball, and then the whole goal is to basically end where they start, finish where they start. So they're at home plate to start. That's where they hit the ball. And then they got to run around those bases and try to get back to home. And that's called a run. And you get more of those than the other team, you win the game. Oh. And then at her school, because she's starting kindergarten soon, at her school, there's a little baseball field. And she wanted to run around the bases. Was it the greatest moment of my life? It was one of the greatest moments of my life. T-Bro, what's going on? Dealer time, aka Farzi's new norm. We'll get this back on track. This much I promise you. IBH, what's going on? Farzi can't bench the bar. Fightings are back. What's up, Farzi can't bench the bar? A staple of my postcasts. Farzi can't bench the bar. IBH, all this double duty is wiping out Farzi. Now I'm good, man. It's technical. It's all technical. April, what's going on? The Farzi show 6:45 to 7:45 a.m. Stubbs should have retired after the game. What's up, Joe? Hey, all right, Joe, if you're still watching, because I know this is earlier in the show. I know you told me it was Bush League that Stubbs tried to go with the frame job. And it was. However, it was more Bush League that Garrett Hampson hit Stubbs in his final plate appearance. It was more Bush League that he got plunked in his 9th inning plate appearance. That was more Bush League. Can we agree on that? Sean Kilray, what's going on? Sean, looking forward to hanging out with you guys. I swear I'll have my technical issues cleared up by then. Phillies are in the series. 26 runs, 45 hits. Most hits in a series in 17 years. Holy Stromboli. Oh, I have my notes on my phone, and I'm using my phone. So, yeah. There's a couple of interesting stats about yesterday's game. Charles dead. Gotta admit, wasn't ready for a Monday morning no headset Farzy. Yeah, and I haven't is it coming up? Like I haven't shaved the dome in a while. Yeah. Daz, what's going on? Timothy B, what's going on? Good morning. IBH, just the fact that the Eagles linebackers are young and healthy is a huge improvement over last year. Sure. Farzy, should Eagles get Ernest Jones from the Rams? And if so, is it likely? I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it yet. I'll have to check it out. IBH, what's going on? First Phillies game against Atlanta is scheduled to be Walker. Is that still a thing? Jay Stay, what's the Woo Farzy, new look. Just for today. Just for today. So drink it in. Wait, hold on. This camera angle got you in 4K, Farzy. I thought my own bald head was shiny in the morning, but yours takes the cake today. Is it really that shiny? Do I even have the overhead light on? Yeah, I do. But it's not like directly over me. There's my camera. Okay. Stratus, what's going on? Good morning. Stubbs, what a weekend. Eagles fan was calling McCullum, was always around the ball. Yeah, exactly what you want in safety. Farzy, they have to play the disaster. Oh, Disastros. Sorry. They have to play the Disastros and the Braves 4-gamer like the playoffs. Yeah, let's get to that. Let's get to that level. Please. Nolan Smith is a bum. Thank you. I've been banging that drum for a while. Taiwan Walker slated to start Thursday in Atlanta. That can't happen. You know what? Yes, it can happen. You know what? I want Ranger Suarez to have one more start. Excuse me. I want him to have many starts. Taiwan Walker. I want Taiwan Walker to have one more start. And it's going to be in Philly. And here's what you can do. When he gives up a bunch of runs, the Phillies fans can boo a thunderous boo down upon Taiwan Walker and the Philadelphia Phillies. And you know what? Here's what I want you to do. I don't even want you to boo Taiwan Walker because it's not like he's going to be like, no, I don't want the baseball. I want you to turn around and boo the front office. That's what I want you to do. I want everyone at Citizens Bank Park, when Taiwan Walker sucks in his next start, if he gets it, turn around and just turn your back to the field and boo towards, I don't know, the press box, wherever the owner's box is. Boo in that direction. Because any Taiwan, what's Taiwan Walker going to be like? I don't want the ball. He's a professional athlete. He's a competitor. He wants the ball. Don't boo him. Boo the front. It's not his fault anymore. He knows he sucks. Boo the front office. That is what I ask everyone to do. Strauss, what's going on? Nolan just needs to play more. Okay. Oh, April. She starts high school today. Oh, first off, Bush League High School. First off, it's criminal to start anything before Labor Day. Like that should be the definitive line. Especially now in the days of like you don't have snow days anymore. You know what I mean? No snow days anymore. So it's like, oh, we start early just in case there's snow day. No, Bush League. This age of technology. April, congrats. That says April, congrats, good luck. Yeah, Sean, I'm sorry. What is the podcast I'm going on today? What is the name? Either way, I'll tweet it out. Daz, what's going on? Unfortunately, he has a big contract. Vic seems to love him. Who, Nolan Smith? Oh, James Bradbury. Seeing a lot of people thinking we are only keeping 6 quarterbacks. I think 7 minimum. Let's see here. Slay, Mitchell, Rogers, DeGene, Ringo, Ricks. Job sucks. Bradbury sucks. McPherson did not. I mean, talking about guys that didn't help their cause in the preseason. McPherson didn't. And I forgot about it. I don't know. I can't remember if it was Ross Tucker or Scott Graham that pointed out that McPherson was like the 3rd guy in last year. Eagles made sure that wasn't going to be the case. But yeah, no, 6 is actually making sense to me. April, thanks, Jason, Sean. Daz, Tony Jefferson looked unreal for the Chargers. Yeah. April, as far as you nuts, I don't need another start from Walker. Hard pass. I know. Oh, April, there you go. Gets them out at the end of May. All right. If they start early in school. Sean Gillespie, looks like you only shaved one side of your head. No, this side right here. And this side right here. It's been a minute. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Oh, wait, hold on. We got a new person in here. Wait, 76er? Turnbull should be back already. Jeez. Thank you, 76er. Thanks again, everybody in the chat. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Garrett Hampson is public enemy number 1. If the Phillies ever face him again in any way, shape, or form, plunk him. Never forget. Anyway, moving on. The Phillies, as I mentioned, are 6 games up now on the on the Atlanta Braves, who lost to the Washington Nationals 5-1 yesterday afternoon. Miss Guzzi. As for the Phillies and what they got going on tonight, Zach Wheeler gets the ball as the Phillies return to Citizens Bank Park for a 6:40 start time. Speaking of things starting early, I love a 6:40 start time. Those are nice. That game will be nationally on Fox Sports 1, so you can check it out there as well. Ronel Blanco will get the start for the Astros. The Astros are 6-4 in their last 10 games, I believe. Zach Wheeler comes in the game looking for his 13th win of the season. Phillies are 76-54 on the year. Ronel Blanco is 9-6 on the season with a 3.14 ERA. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Also, my football responsibilities for this season. I told you guys I will not be with Locked On Sports Philadelphia covering the Eagles. Their announcement will be coming soon. But I will be remaining with Locked On Sports Philadelphia to do your Phillies postcasts and your Sixers postcasts. As for my Eagles pre- and post-game responsibilities, stay tuned to social media. Big announcement coming. Really looking forward to working with some phenomenal people, some familiar faces, in a all-new capacity. Be looking forward to doing that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is The Farzy Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to Farzy Show, Jacob Media, and Locked On Sports Philadelphia. See you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia following Phillies and Astros. See you guys then.